Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome to those of you watching on OneSpotMedia.com. A reminder as well that you can download our OneSpot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number one, followed by the word Spot Media. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, along with a team of government officials and technical personnel from the National Works Agency, NWA, are now in Montego Bay, St. James, touring areas affected by yesterday afternoon's flood rains. The rains caused major gullies in the city to overflow their banks, leaving roads and several buildings, including stores, supermarkets, banks and gas stations, flooded. TVJ's Lana Gay Franklin has been on the ground in Montego Bay and now joins us live with the latest. Lana Gay?
Hi, Herman. Thank you very much. At this point, Prime Minister Andrew Holness arrived at the Jamjet Airport Center in Montego Bay at 11:25 a.m. via a JDF helicopter. Now, he's accompanied by senior cabinet ministers to include local government minister Desmond McKenzie, Attorney General, and West Central MP for St. James Marlene Malahoo Fort, Minister without portfolio, and Northwest St. James MP Dr. Horace Chang. Also accompanying the Prime Minister is National Works Agency Communications Manager Stephen Shaw. The Prime Minister made his way from the airport straight to the Rio Hotel in Rose Hall, which was flooded yesterday. As we speak, however, the Prime Minister and his delegation are in Providence Heights community, which is topside Flanker, the Flanker community. So we were also told that the Prime Minister will not be speaking to the media officially until he has had a first-hand look at the extent of the damage. He's also expected to tour sections of the business community, which was also severely damaged due to the flooding. The Prime Minister is also expected to address an emergency press conference at the St. James Municipal Corporation. That will be at about 1 p.m. Earlier today, Herman, several agencies commenced cleaning up exercise of sections of downtown Montego Bay that started at about 7 a.m. Although schools and businesses were forced to close their doors, motorists could be seen in and around downtown Montego Bay trying to make their way. However, most motorists took the most suitable route via Orange Street through Leaders Avenue to get out of Montego Bay. But I'm sure following the tour, the Prime Minister will have much to say later on. So until then, it's back to you, Herman.
Thank you. Our reporter Lana Gay Franklin there in Montego Bay with the latest happenings there. In the meantime, the Prime Minister's tour of Montego Bay comes on the heels of dramatic scenes of flooding in the parish. TVJ's Janella Precious has more in this report.
Commuters stranded in the Montego Bay city center as taxi and bus operators are reluctant to move.
Coming to Montego Bay trying to reach home, and we couldn't come further than the first part of Kentucky.
And they had all reason to. The scene on the streets throughout the town, vehicles submerged under flood waters.
Oh yeah, oh, the water was way up on top. Way up on top, my friend.
This is the result of non-stop heavy rainfall, the effects of which started to play out early Wednesday afternoon. The gully at Harbour Street overflowed its banks, posing a threat to motorists, pedestrians and businesses in the area. Businesses like Island Grill. When the water subsided, we ventured in, but not for long, as the flooding prompted an early close to the business day. There was flooding too inside the St. James Parish Court. This is the view from the health center's car park. But at the Ruby's gas station on St. James Street, car on car at the pump and on another section of the property. On William Street, big losses too for the owners of the Star Supermarket. The goods were everywhere. The flooding one person blamed on blocked drains. But with more rain on the horizon, there are concerns that the devastation will be worse. Janella Precious, TVJ News.
Real dramatic footage there. And Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid is advising that schools in Montego Bay, St. James that were affected by yesterday's severe flooding should remain closed today. In a release sent this morning, Mr. Reid also advised parents and school administrators to continue paying close attention to releases from the Met Service and assess where it is safe for children and adults to use the roadways. Indications are that while the rains have abated, there is a lot of mud on the streets, making it difficult for pedestrians and vehicular traffic to move around. Meanwhile, residents described the flooding of their homes and cars as a result of the heavy rains that lashed Montego Bay last evening. Janice Stevenson of Canterbury describes the trauma she and her 4 children underwent as the rushing waters filled their home.
While I was in the house, I only hear a whoosh. But when I realized the water already reached to my waist, I put the babies on the bed, and I tried to take out one and take him to the top of that house there. Then I have to take one on my back and one on my shoulder, hold on to that post which you can see on the veranda there, and was crying out for help. I was quickly assisted.
And another resident, Junior Samuel, says he and his family had to evacuate their house to save their lives.
This mega water, you don't know it different from over here. The water lie down over here. Now if I rescue my woman and my grandpa them out of the house, carry them from my old lady, I put them down. I'm nervous, they find the house stop, I wonder what they're going, if the place go mash up.
If you look inside, no clothes, right? And you them did they can't have a second clothes to change or not. Can't change. Nobody in a place can't change, because the place, the water just come from it, something like that.
And as we heard earlier, the cleaning process has started with the heavy showers that flooded the city of Montego Bay, St. James yesterday. Officials, residents and business owners are trying to bring the city back to normal as they rid the roads of debris and garbage.
We do something about this water thing, you know, because I hear this go on Mobile. Here's this go on Mobile. A God make we not dead around here. A God make we is alive if we can tell the story this morning. How dreadful the water come down from yesterday. Me I tell you, the Holy Almighty, all you see we wash we all the damages of the Almighty alone. Hold the rain and make the rain stop, because if it never stop, all of we wash we gonna see.
Meanwhile, Mayor of Montego Bay, Homer Davis, says the 4 hours of heavy rain could not be predicted or planned for. Many businesses were closed. The mayor and the education ministry were also closed, and schools across the city are also closed. Some residents of a community in St. Thomas known as Orange Tree have been marooned because of the heavy rains which continues to affect mostly the eastern part of the island. The people are appealing for the construction of a bridge to provide access in and out of the area whenever it rains.
Me have my chicken them cross here, can't go across to go feed them or nothing. They lock up, nobody not there to go feed them and so forth. Why? Me and my grandpicking them, my daughter, out here, can't go across, one soup cleaner, we don't have no more clothes or nothing. So we have to just stay over here till we can cross and so forth.
Operations at the Kingston Public Hospital, KPH, were disrupted this morning as nurses working in the Medical Records Department staged a strike demanding that an employee be removed from the department. The nurses wore full black in support of the strike. Negotiating officer at the Union of Technical, Administrative and Supervisory Personnel, UTASP, Howard Litchmore, says the employee has been displaying behavior that is not conducive to the workplace.
She's disrespecting the workers, so as a result, they no longer want to work with her and ask that she be removed from the department. So that is where we are now.
The strike has left patients discontented as they too were affected.
I have work for God this morning, you know. They are giving no idea which they must come back and so. Clinic are going, no clinic not going, nothing at all. No information, nothing at all. We're not getting no information. We just hear like a look at statue.
From the 18th of September up until now, I cannot get it. I'm going to have court tomorrow because the judge asked for it. I'm going to have court tomorrow, and now they're going to tell me I can't get it. What am I going to do tomorrow when I go? I'm going to tell the judge, say, them tell me I slackness.
Mr. Litchmore has, however, promised that the matter will be addressed in a meeting with the nurses and management so that normal operations can resume. Meanwhile, NAJ President Carmen Johnson says that nurses island-wide are on a go slow. We'll have more in subsequent newscasts on that. The National Water Commission, NWC, is reporting that the massive hole in Washington Boulevard in San Andrew has been repaired. On Tuesday, TVJ News reported that at least 2 motor vehicles were damaged after both fell into a crater on the boulevard. The National Works Agency indicated that the manhole was due to a defect with the National Water Commission's sewer main. Communications manager at the NWC, Charles Buchanan, on TVJ's Smile Jamaica this morning, pointed out that the problem has been addressed.
As at yesterday afternoon, they completed the repairs to about 30 feet of sewer mains underneath the roadway. They have compacted and reinstated on a temporary basis the area, so it's drivable at the moment.
The Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union League is celebrating 75 years of operations this month and believes the approach used to bring the movement to this milestone can be used to improve the country in general. At the recent anniversary awards banquet, past President Jonathan Brown suggested that the first step to growth is identifying the assets that will foster growth.
The greatest asset that this movement have is the people. We may grow in billions of dollars, but it's the people that makes the credit union movement different. And we want to say if we are going to move into the next century, the 21st century, it's going to be the people who is going to carry the movement forward.
President of the Jamaica Olympic Association, Christopher Samuda, who was the guest speaker, adds that for improvements to materialize in each sector, a transformation is needed at the very foundation of society, the home.
For it is at home, in the home, that the genes of values and character are created, nurtured, and materialized. It is within the home that the construct of life and living become the foundation and architecture of either success or failure.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF, is recommending that the authorities in Barbados implement tough measures to put that country's debt on a clear downward path. Recommendation was made in the... We have more in this report.
Barbados has been going through economic challenges, which one economist recently said could either force it to devalue its currency or go to the IMF. Even if that recommendation continues to be resisted, the IMF, in a release on Wednesday, following its latest economic assessment of Barbados, painted a picture of the country showing an economy which is badly struggling and government finances which are woefully weak. It says economic growth should slow to 0.9% this year, further slowdown staved off by a buoyant tourism sector, but that's not where the troubles end for Barbados. The IMF says the country's net international reserves, NIR, continue to decline as the government debt service exceeds the new funding and the private foreign inflows remain weak. That debt which is being serviced has increased to more than 137% of GDP. The Barbados government has already rolled out an ambitious budget to cauterize the situation, but the IMF says that government is likely to fall short of its target. The recommendation then is for medicine as bitter as Jamaica had to take 4 years ago. In that, the IMF staff recommends that the government starts to set aside more money to pay down its debt through increasing its primary surplus over the next few years to 7.5% of GDP. A similar level primary surplus Jamaica had to implement, leading to multiple tax packages and spending cuts by the government. When it's ready to do so, the IMF says it stands ready to help. Sentiments expressed by the IMF Managing Director Christine Lagarde at the High-Level Caribbean Forum on November 16, when she told other Caribbean countries not to be shy about an IMF program as was implemented in Jamaica, Grenada and St. Kitts and Nevis.
And the experience of these countries, which has been in the main very successful, can provide a good example for other countries in the region.
The rest of the recommendation looks pretty much like Jamaica has to undergo things like selling, merging or closing public assets, containing the public sector wage bill and the government pension, while broadening the tax base and improving the business climate. Dashan Hendricks, TVJ News.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, Good afternoon.